There's our guest right there.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Good to have you back for our rerun of episode 10. We ran into a few technical issues last time, but I want to get our guest back on because he is deserving of a full uninterrupted live, and I'm sure by the end of this chat you'll see why. So I'll quickly introduce this episode, then I'll get you to do a little introduction. But so hello everyone again. This is Quarantine Fitness and Life episode 10, and this is a platform that I created to sort of help people with being able to train during this lockdown time, and also to sort of like touch on other issues about lockdown so that we can all help each other through these times. So if there's any questions you have regarding fitness or other aspects of quarantine life, then write those down in the comments below, and I'm sure myself and Mike will happily look to answer them as well. So I'll just pass over to you quickly to just do a brief introduction. You have been on my channel before, but just for people who have not seen you, just a quick introduction of who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again, man. As round 3. My name is Mike Manfre. I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah. I am a nutritionist. I have been for about 9 years. And before that, I was in law enforcement for about 7 years. So I've kind of, I've been a cop at one point, and now I'm helping people in a different way and helping them through proper eating, nutrition, macros, fitness. And I've been doing it for 9 years, and I love it. So I've helped a few thousand people achieve their goals and their dreams. And so, yeah, it's exciting.
It is indeed. Best job in the world, eh?
Absolutely. You know what's up.
So, yeah. So, with that, we'll now start Quarantine Fitness and Life. And in our sort of last one, we did touch on quite a lot of interesting issues. So I want to sort of like delve a bit deeper into that. So I think one of them is when you talked about what you've been doing during sort of lockdown, because it was definitely tough at the start, and you found a lot of things, good coping strategies. So how important do you think keeping our mental health intact and keeping that sort of like healthy, how important is that during this sort of time, and sort of what have you really been doing during the lockdown period to sort of facilitate that?
Yeah, I know we kind of talked about this last time we spoke, but I really am a huge fan of keeping your routine. We kind of touched base on that a little bit. A lot of people do not keep their routine, right? So they just kind of, they don't get ready for the day, especially if you're working from home. They're just kind of out of their routine. And so I always tell my clients, listen, make sure you guys are getting ready for the day. You know, you're doing everything, taking a shower, brushing your teeth. I know working from home, a lot of times people fail to do that kind of stuff. And that's very important, right? And that goes down with just being healthy in general, just making sure you're still doing everything you were before, even if you're working from home. And so I'm a huge fan of doing everything routine as you were before. And that involves doing everything as far as getting dressed, taking a shower, brushing your teeth. I've myself has been a victim of this in the past, where you get up, maybe you don't brush your teeth, you know, until half the day's over because you haven't gone out, right? So make sure you do all that stuff, and obviously try to stay as positive as possible. We were talking about earlier about having some type of journal or you know, goals you set in mind. Even if you're doing a weekly journal, right, or a weekly goal-setting journal of what do you want to accomplish in the next 7 days. Obviously, very small goals, but that's huge. And once you accomplish those, and they have to be reasonable goals, but doing that every 7 days, I do every 30 days, I do a goal sheet of where I should be in 30 days, whether it be through health, through how much fat you want to lose, how much muscle you want to gain, how much money you want to make. Those are all small goals instead of just one big giant goal. You agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, 100% agree with that. The first one I want to sort of like touch on is just pretty much the first thing that came out of your mouth, and that is having a routine. When things change, like pretty much everyone in the world has faced, the thing that makes it tough is that it's knocked us out of the routine that we previously had, and that is what makes things scary. Because when things are not as they used to be, then you've got almost nothing to cling on to, and that's what makes us sort of like panic and worried about how to proceed forward. But having a new routine in terms of what we can do now, because when we worry about things that we can't control and we obsess over that, then we're just going to make ourselves more anxious, potentially depressed over something we don't have any control over at all. So when we start to look at, okay, this has happened, gyms are shut, I need to work from home, whatever it is, when we are able to sort of accept that to a degree and go, okay, what can I actually do now, and create a new routine around that, that is when we can start the ball rolling. And then it comes back to things that you said of when you even wake up, brush your teeth, get yourself dressed, start to do that, because it means you're trying to attack the day. Yes, you might not be going outside, but you're making yourself presentable, and that is going to help even you mentally, because you're going, right, I'm ready to get things done. Whereas if, let's say, we laze around, stay in our PJs all day, which at times it's fine to do, but if we really want to sort of like, but if we've got sort of like either goals to achieve, or if we really want to even improve our sort of like physical fitness during this time, we need to get ourselves moving, and getting ourselves ready is a good start in that. So is that stuff that you do you think that chimes well with what you said?
Yeah, I think that's huge what you said, as far as knowing what we can and can't control. That's huge. If you can't, something you can't control, you can't get mad about. It's out of your control. We're on lockdown. I know things are kind of easing up now. And so, I went for 2 months. I went and just got a bunch of dumbbells and just kind of made a little home gym downstairs and did what I could. Better than nothing. A lot of people just gave up on working out. They gave up on their health. You know, it's sad to see. And so it's only whatever you can control is really all you can control, and there's nothing you can do about it. So just make the best of it. And again, make sure you guys are staying fit, staying active. I just recently had a client who passed away on me 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And that because I've been telling him for years, you gotta get your mind right, you gotta be healthy. And people think we have all this time, and we don't. And tomorrow's never. And so it's none of us are. We can all be gone tomorrow. Doesn't matter how healthy we are. So make the best of your time. If you have kids, I have a daughter. It's spend as much time as you possibly can with those people. But yeah, routine is everything. And I know you know this more than anybody else. You always, even with your posting, I know you're always posting. You have a great routine as far as what you're posting, your progress pics and all that stuff. That's great. I love seeing that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm on here, man, because you motivate me.
Yeah, and I think that's what you said there. As much as it's a sort of sad thing, but it should make us really appreciate the preciousness of life. Tomorrow isn't promised to anybody, and if any time that we should know this, it is now with what is actually happening. So that is actually even more reason to not put things off, to not put our health off, to not put off our aspirations and goals. So be that to try and get ourselves in better shape, be that to go after that sort of dream job, be that to learn to even play guitar, whatever type of thing it is that we sort of have in mind. So with something that you sort of talked about, and we sort of said this before, because I think it's just really brilliant, and I think it'd be great to explain it again here. Your sort of almost 30-day vision board thing that you had. I'd like you to sort of explain the sort of power and relevance of that. How you doing, Nicky? Because I think that people would find that sort of very useful, and to see actually how it's empowered you for you to even reach your goals and your clients.
Yeah, so my 30-day vision boards basically involves, I really write down where I see myself in 30 days. And again, they're not big goals because it's only 30 days, but it's something that I want to achieve in 30 days. And that might be kind of like what you said, even learning guitar or something like that. But I'll write down in 30 days where I want to be, and I'll actually literally write down a vision of me waking up and going to bed on that day in 30 days and what I'll be doing. And that's how detailed it is. I'll wake up, and I'll kind of explain what my day is and what I want to accomplish in 30 days. And that might be have 5 extra clients in 30 days. Mm-hmm. That might be have a certain amount of money more in my bank account. There's the skies are the limit. And so on your own vision board, you write down where you see yourself in 30 days. And it could be 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And I'm okay. I have a year. I have one that I just wrote for March of next year. That's where I want to be in March of next year. But that's so far away, and I want to focus on baby step goals. So if you're kind of watching this, make sure you guys do a vision board every 30 days. It takes me 15 minutes to do. I'll do it on a Sunday night and where I want to be in 30 days from now. And again, 60 days and 90 days if you feel like you want to push it out more for more bigger goals. But to each its own, but 30 days for me works. And when I don't reach that, when 30 days comes and I'm not where I want to be as far as a mini goal, you know, it kind of motivates you. It also makes you mad. Like I should have done this and I should have done that. You have a checklist of stuff you should have done to accomplish that goal in 30 days. So I have a lot of my clients that do that. A lot of people that I mentor here in Utah out vision boards every 30 days. And I'll kind of ask them, you know, what their vision board is in 30 days or 90 days.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. I think we've got is this a question here? Hayden Phillips, what are day-to-day measurements or guides you use for 30-day goal to know if you're on track? I'll let you answer that one.
I think that's for you. He knows me. I think that's for you, buddy. He's from Utah. He knows me. I think you.
Well, I mean, you're the sort of vision goal man, but I mean, but really, it depends on what the goal is here, because there's different things you can monitor. But there's something that I like to use, and I'm pretty sure that Mike, you know this as well, and it's called SMART goals. So basically, S stands for specific, M stands for measurable, A stands for achievable, R stands for relevant, and T stands for time frame. So the great thing about Mike's sort of like 30-day vision board thing is that ticks off the last one there, the time frame. So you've got yourself a set time frame you want to achieve something.
Yeah.
But then you need to have your goal to be specific. So what is specific? I generally say that your goal needs to be something that you should be able to explain to a 5-year-old and they understand what it is you're talking about.
Yes.
Because if your goal is too complicated, too wordy, you're probably not fully understanding exactly what you want to do, because this goal should be something you can go, I can plan this. So that's that part there. And then the main thing here is the M part, the measurable. So let's say in terms of physical fitness, I recently did a 70-week fat loss transformation. So what things did I measure there? Measured my sort of like weight fluctuations every 2 to 3 weeks. Why did I not do it every day? Because that doesn't really tell the proper trend of how your weight is going. I like to have it spaced out. I mean, for me personally, I would say a week is probably the lower end of when you want to be doing it regularly. I do it every 2 to 3 weeks. But also, I took progress photos, and you can even take measurements, because the reason we do all these other things is that I like to go by the method of having 2 forms of measurement, because you might get to a time where, let's say, your weight may not have changed from like 1 week to the next week, but that doesn't mean you're not making any progress. Because if you maybe look at progress pictures from the week before to the week now, you probably might see that there's differences that you don't see reflected on the scale. And then also, if you've taken measurements of, let's say, your chest, arms, waist, or thighs, you probably might see differences there. So then that re-motivates you to know that you're actually going the right path. So this is why having good forms of measurements and actually having a goal that allows you to track. So for me, my main goal was to lose between 15 and 20 pounds in 17 weeks. So without losing, with trying to maintain muscle mass. So that's a goal you can plan for and a goal you can track. So going back to Mike's vision board, you've got your 30 days, have a goal that you can track. And whatever your goal is, the way of tracking it should make sense. So if it was a case of, so for instance, your goal of trying to get an extra 5 clients, how would you then track? What would be your progress for that? It'd probably maybe be, let's say, how many clients have you got in the first week?
Yeah, you do it per week. Absolutely, because 5 clients in a month for some people may seem like a lot, some people may seem like not that many, but you're basically saying I need a client per week, or maybe a little bit more, obviously, but you can't look at the overall picture. Just like when I have clients that want to lose 100 pounds, we don't focus on 100 pounds, we focus on 2 pounds a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
And going back to the progress pictures, what you were speaking about is huge. I have my clients take weekly pictures of themselves. We don't just have a week 1 and week,
Exactly.
week 4. Yeah. You need these small little increments to compare yourself. And most people only have a scale to use as their gauge. And that's unfortunate, because just because the scale's not moving does not mean you're not changing. And I talk about this with my clients daily, and it's I speak about it so much. It starts, you got to pound into people's mind that you have to measure yourself as far as measurements, like you spoke about, taking weekly pictures of yourself. Those are huge, right? And maybe even getting your body fat taken, regardless of what that scale number says. And so that goes back to the 30-day vision board. Everything is in increments. That's kind of like the overall message we're trying to get across here is everything that's, if you're successful, it's in increments. That's why a 30-day vision board is really important. That's why taking weekly pictures is really important. Again, someone sees you or sees someone that's in shape, you took in increments. You gained a pound of muscle per month, or whatever the case may be. And over time, what I call compound interest, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Something done every day times time is compound interest. And so if you do these small things every day, you will either get better or get worse. We don't want to stay the same. And so it's easy to eat a cheeseburger every day, and you probably won't get fat the next day. But if you eat a cheeseburger every day for a month, you will be fatter, right? Same as a chicken breast. If you eat chicken breast today, tomorrow I won't have abs. But if I do it in 30 days, I'm going to be a lot better off. So that's why it's so crucial to take things in increments. It's all about that compound interest, and doing something over time will make you worse or better.
Yeah, and that is, that's one you use in a sort of last 5 run. I think that
Still there, dude?
Puts the picture. Yeah. It puts the picture perfectly there. It just shows why this game, not just in terms of physique creation or get yourself in shape, it's something we need to be consistent in. And let's say use the example of an Olympic marathon runner. They need to train every day to be able to run that length of distance that they're going to run. The first maybe day of their training, they probably can't run it as quickly as they will end up doing it on Olympic day. They probably might not actually be able to run the whole thing, but by the process of doing it, so let's say they start 4 years before, because obviously Olympics is every 4 years, they slowly build up their speed, endurance, strength, fitness, all these things. So on game day, they are ready to perform. That doesn't come just like that. So, and even still, they probably might have a vision board or something as well to say what thing they're going to target so they can get to that end goal. So it's crucial for all of us, no matter what it is we're trying to do, to actually have things planned out and first to understand what goal is it we're trying to achieve here. Is that something you agree with?
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes with, with weight training, with cardio. You're obviously not doing the same weight as you were 2 months ago. You should be improving constantly. And that's just like with the runners, kind of the same thing. They start off slow and they are slowly increasing over time. That's that compound interest. So everything that's great takes time. But you have to have goals. That's where a lot of people fail. They don't have goals. They just say, I'll finish this whenever. They need to have a deadline. I want to lose 5 pounds, just like I'll lose 5 pounds whenever. Like, you need to have a goal. I want to lose 5 pounds in a month. So people out there, and my clients all know this. I have them set goals and deadlines for everything, because you have to. You can't just say I'll do it whenever. And that's why those 30-day vision boards are really important. That's why setting small goals per 7 days is important. That's why taking weekly pictures of yourself is important, right? As weird as it sounds, when I was law enforcement, I unfortunately wasn't really making a lot of money at the time. and because they're underpaid for what they do, right? Cops put their life on the line.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wasn't making enough money.
Yeah.
I remember taking screenshots of my bank account. I was so mad about it. I took screenshots when I was in the red, when I wasn't making, I was negative in my account. I would take screenshots of my account as a reminder I never want to be here again. And I still have those screenshots. That was to this day, I still have some of those screenshots of my account multiple times in the red, and not knowing what I'm going to do as far as bills and how I'm going to pay my bills. And so I still look at those to this day and go, man, I got to keep grinding. I don't want to be that person anymore and have my account in the red. So it's just reminding yourself you have to take these small goals. Even becoming wealthy or making money, it takes time to build up that bank account. It takes time to build up your clientele. If you're I train a lot of new coaches out there. It takes time to build even one before and after. That could take months. So when you're starting out, when I first started out back in 2011 as a coach, it took me a good year to have maybe 5 or 10 before and afters, because it takes time for those clients to change. And so it's all about taking time, but make sure you're doing it in increments. Every 7 days, you should be feeling like you're improving in life, financially, physically, mentally, spiritually. Something should be going on every 7 days. You should be getting this much better, and then this much every 7 days will just add up. And that's, I think, where people fail, is that they're so concerned with this long-term goal of making a certain amount of money or getting in a certain physical fitness type shape. They don't realize the progress it takes and the time it takes. So, and I'm sure you've gotten that a lot. People probably look at you and think that happened overnight, or that a year. You've probably been training for 15 years, right?
Yeah. Almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
And it's one of these things that, and I think it really then breeds into motivation. I think a lot of the reasons why because a lot of people probably say to you, well, how do you stay motivated? Where do I get this motivation from? And I think it's the fact of what you said there, that if people have got big goals of where they want to be, you need to have some sort of actionable steps that are going to get you there, which is pretty much what we've talked about here with the vision boards. And that's why it's such a great thing that Mike sort of introduced here, because having that sort of almost like 30-day plan of actionable goals that you want to do in that 30 days, that's going to drive you to get to your goal, because after the first 30 days are done, you need to do another one. The next 30 days, do another one. After, let's say, 5 months, you've done 5 things that have taken you 5 steps closer to your goal. Whereas if all you do is think about the big goal, no wonder you can start to lose motivation, because you're probably not going to make anywhere near the same progress.
Yeah, exactly.
Then if you kept on doing, it makes sort of like 30-day vision boards.
Yep.
This is why it's all about having something actionable to do that will keep on motivating you. Like Mike talked about, like how even looking at his bank account, as much as you didn't take screenshots, but the fact is you had it in your head, that gave you that motivation to push forward, to get the new clients, seeing how that progressed week to week to week.
Yep. And I knew it wouldn't happen overnight, and I had to set this goal to read 25 to 50 pages of
I think we may have lost you a little bit there, Mike. But yeah, it just shows the importance of having goals and having aspirations, but also having realistic goals and aspirations to the time frame that you've set, so you can actually achieve them. Because it's only in being able to take the right actions to achieve it. So let's see if we can get Mike back on. Request him come back on. It sometimes can happen with with technical issues, especially as he's in Utah and I'm in Scotland, Edinburgh. We got you back, Mike?
Yeah.
Brilliant, yeah. So I was just saying there how I think it's that important to have sort of like goals. Have we got you still there? Because I think we've got a loading circle on you again. Have we got you there, Mike? Apologies for this, guys. It just can happen on these lives. I'll see if I can get him back on again. Hopefully he'll appear at the bottom. Right, we've got you back. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to come back on there. But I think the real sort of like key thing about this is just like we need to have sort of like our goals, what it is that we want to achieve, and we need to break that down into things, actionable steps that we can do daily or weekly, because then that establishes routine. See if I can get him back on. Okay, do we have you?
Yeah, is it? Yeah, we're here.
Good. So I was just sort of almost like trying to sum up what we're sort of saying in terms of the motivation and having the goals. Is that we need to have goals that are simple, and again it goes back to that SMART method of something that you can describe to a 5-year-old and they'd understand, because then that means that you can do it in that sort of like 30-day time period that you've got in terms of your 30-day vision board. But that in itself pushes you to do something, and then when you can achieve that, that motivates you to do another one. And even if you don't achieve it, it motivates you to go, because you might go, I didn't put enough into this, I really should, or you might go, I put everything I could into it, but I know I can do better because I can see how close I was. So do you think that in itself is what gives the motivation that people lack, in the fact they don't have actionable goals to chase?
Yes, and that's why they have to be realistic goals.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of 30-day vision boards, and they're still unrealistic. They're setting themselves up for failure. So you got to make sure that when you write these vision boards, they have to be realistic. They can't be, I want to make 30 grand in a month. Like, well, you only made 2 last month, so that's unrealistic, right? Or I want to lose 20 pounds. So you got to make sure that it's realistic for you, and you have to take a hard look at your own life, and as far as what's doable for you, because everybody's a 10 up here. They want to be a 10 as far as being 100% perfect, but when it comes to reality, they're only a 6, which is fine. You just be 100% of a 6. That's what you need to do. And that's why I tell all my clients, like, if you want to eat if you're going to eat a meal plan 7 out of a 10, which means you're not going to have the best results, but 70% of the time you're going to follow your meal plan. You need to be 100% on that 7, because that's realistic for you. And so start setting realistic goals. For every 100 pounds that you weigh, you can lose 1 pound of fat. That's a good rule of thumb. So if you're 300 pounds, you can lose 3 pounds of fat in 7 days. But if you're 150 pounds, you cannot lose 3 or 4 pounds of actual fat in 7 days. So make sure you have that as a goal for yourself personally. If I'm 200 pounds, I can lose 2 pounds a week. That's your goal, which is, that's 8 pounds in a month. That's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
That's 8 pounds of actual fat loss is a lot. So start making realistic goals, and that's why people fail on their own goals, is they're not realistic. Just be realistic with yourself. What's doable in 30 days? What's doable in 7 days? I tell a lot of my clients and a lot of people that I work with on a daily basis to read 10 pages of your favorite book every day. And that whether that be a self-help book, a business book, an entrepreneur book, something, whatever you're into, read 10 pages a day, and you'll have a book read in 30 days, in 1 month. You're going to read 1 book a month. That's 12 more books in a year, right? And you can't tell me you won't be smarter if you read books in a year of something that's going to improve your life. 12 books a year. I was reading 1 book a week for a long time, and even that seemed unrealistic. But that was only 50 pages a day. I read an hour a day for 7 days. That took me under 7 days to read a full book of 300 pages plus. So if you only do 10 pages a day, which will take you 10 minutes, you cannot tell me you don't have 10 minutes to read a book. Okay, and you do that for 30 days, you do that for a full year, that's 12 books you will have read that will make you smarter and better for the following year. regardless of whatever book you want to read that's gonna improve your life, physically, financially, mentally, spiritually, whatever you're into. So if you're watching this right now, read 10 pages today, and then focus on tomorrow and read 10 pages tomorrow. You can do it right before you go to bed. Give me 10 minutes a day to read any book that you feel like is going to benefit you. And you will be better in 30 days. I promise.
Yeah, and it goes back to sort of one of the phrases that you love saying, and it is that sort of compound interest. And really what you're meaning by that is that if you just get something done, put something away in terms of your effort, in terms of it being that you've got your training session done, because you say every week you're doing 3 sessions, 4 sessions, 5 sessions, that you get that done. That is you compound that, you bank that, keep on doing that. If you can do the things you need to do daily and weekly, you are going to get to your target. So that's what it comes down to, setting that routine. But to be able to set a routine, you need to know where you're aiming for. And then you need to have the actionable things. That's what Mike was talking about. Reading 10 pages or an hour of a book per day. Getting your training sessions done for your week. Getting your sort of like nutrition sorted for your week. If you do meal prep, whatever. It's these little actionable things that we do day to day. That is what makes myself, that's what makes Mike, in terms of the physiques we've created, in terms of what we're doing business-wise. We don't have more time than anyone else. It's just being able to use the time wisely on the things that we say we want. I mean, is that something that you agree with?
Yep. Yeah, we all get 24 hours a day, and it depends on how you use them and how and having kids adds more to your plate. And I learned that real quick, right? But it's whatever you're into, you're going to put time into. I hate excuses. There's certain times that you have them, but if someone held a gun to your head and said, you better have abs in 6 months, you would probably do it. You'd probably find time and do it. So if it's really that important to you, you'll make time for it. And I hired a business coach last year who kind of changed my life a little bit, because he was like, read an hour a day. And I was like, there's no way. I don't got time for an hour a day. But I realized I was watching 3 hours a day of TV, right? So, and I guarantee you, if you really write down what your whole day consists of from waking up till going to bed for 3 days. I did this myself. I wrote down, if I was sitting here right now not doing anything and watching TV, I'd write down from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock I was watching TV. And then as you go through that and look at that and go, wow, I have all this spare time, I didn't really realize. So write down 3 days, almost like a 3-day, instead of a 3-day food journal, 3-day life journal.
Oh, I love
that. Yeah. It's actually pretty cool. And if you do that, you'll actually realize how much time you have. So a 3-day life journal. And that's really helpful. So write that down. You'll realize how much time you can actually piece together to read for an hour a day, or whatever it is. If it's working out for an hour a day, a lot of my clients say they don't have time for an hour, and you usually do. So yeah, 3-day life. Write that down from when you wake up till you go to bed, and see how much time you actually have to do what you want to do.
Yeah, and that's pretty mind blowing stuff, really, there, because I've never even comprehended the sort of life journal type thing. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people might talk about sort of like a food journal, or even a cigarette journal for people who are trying to sort of like smoke, but that's the thing. This is how you can prioritize your time. I mean, if you feel you don't have time to get things done, you then need to look at what it is you're spending your time on. And the only way you can do that is to actually write down. You can physically see and go, oh, is this thing I did here, is that really that important to me because I say that I want to get in better shape in 6 months, or that I want to be able to do X and Y in a certain amount of time? This is where I might need to like rearrange certain things because I want to make this a priority. And that's it basically comes down to accountability, doesn't it? And that's what that gives people. I mean, do you think accountability is something that, especially during this sort of like time where we probably do have a little bit more time, or we have less things to actually do because we don't need to travel as much, do you think that's something that people really need to sort of like be be conscious of in terms of their goals.
Yeah, and that's where listen, I even had someone that said they have goals per day. By 8 o'clock at night, they have to have X, Y, and Z done. And that was really cool. I actually tried that for a week. It was tough. I have to have this goal done. I have to have this book read. I got to have my cardio done. So I have people that are doing daily goals, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it's not for everybody, but it actually does keep you on track. Hey, by 5 o'clock, this has to be done. And if it's not done, you failed for the day. So, it's all about time management. And I love what you were talking about with the SMART. That's pretty cool. I'm going to start kind of utilizing that as well. But time management, and it's all about that compound interest. Daily activities times time equals compound interest, right? Whatever you're doing every day is going to make you better or worse. Because our goal is to never be stagnant. If you're not evolving, you're expiring.
That's right.
You always have to be evolving at some point in your life. Every day has to be, and some days are just crappy. All right, we all have crappy days sometimes, and so that's going to happen. But for the most part, you should be evolving every day, every week, every month. You should be getting better, and that's where those goals happen. That's why you have to set goals. They're so crucial. And I was not about goal setting 2 years ago. And I just this is kind of new to me as well, setting goals. And it's really helped my business, my personal life, my body, everything. Setting goals has really helped. And I hadn't reached all my goals. There's on my 30-day vision boards, I fail all the time. So we all fail. Don't get me wrong. I actually failed when we were in quarantine. I failed one of my 30-day vision boards. I didn't complete everything I wanted to. But you should come out of this quarantine a better person. Again, better person, whatever you think is better, whether it be physically, mentally, again, spiritually, So you just got to come out better. But try that 30-day vision board and try a 3-day life journal of how you spend your time every hour and what are you doing for every hour. And I found that I was sleeping in more, and I actually started waking up earlier in the day to get more stuff done. I don't know. Have you tried that?
Yeah, I mean, and because this is something that I'm actually even going to talk about in my stories, which I'll put up after this. That, for instance, in terms of, let's say, physical fitness, we both know how important recovery is, rest and recovery is to having a good physique in terms of even to try to build muscle or to lose body fat, just because when we sleep, that's where we sort of replenish our sort of hormone systems, which is important for both muscle growth and sort of fat loss as well. So a lot of people probably don't get really enough sleep. So one thing that's quite quick and simple to do is just what you've said: go to bed earlier.
yeah, exactly.
It's these little tricks, but only when you maybe look at your day through Mike's sort of life journal, then you actually start to see these things. Because you cannot plan what you can't see, and you cannot manage what you don't know. And that's the beauty of having these sort of 30-day vision boards or the sort of life journal. It makes you see exactly what is actually going on, so then you can be accountable properly for your actions. And that's really what all of this actually is about. So, that sort of segment there that you really said, I think will be very useful to people, especially if they can sort of action that. And if there's any questions people have on these things, then sort of write these down, because we'll be able to sort of answer them right now as well, or even afterwards if you sort of message myself or Mike, we can definitely help you out with that as well. But one thing I did sort of want to chat on before this sort of ended was, do you see this as being a good time for sort of self-reflection of our lives and to be able to take on new goals or ones that we've maybe been putting off?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's always good times to have new goals. There's never a time when you shouldn't have new goals. That comes down to always evolving and always getting better. You should always have new goals in mind all the time. And kind of the things we talked about, having all these ways to gauge your goals are really going to be helpful. You can't just say, I want to lose 10 pounds and then just have no end date. You're going to fail. Yeah. That's not how it works. I want to make $100,000 in a year. but what's your plan to do that, and that's where the baby steps come in. I have to sign up 5 clients a month, or I have to, I have to get a promotion at work, whatever it is, especially entrepreneurs. I have to sell this many of X, Y, and Z to make $100,000 or whatever your goal is at the end of the year. Or I want to help 50 people, reach fat loss goals. Well, that's cool, but how do I start? So it really comes down to, I want to help 2 people a week or 5 people a month. And so making these small goals are super crucial to your overall success. And that's, again, where I've noticed that people are failing because they don't have mini goals to achieve their larger goal.
Yeah. And that.
So start making small goals for your end goal.
Yes.
Compound.
No, I was 100. Yeah, I definitely 100% agree with that, and it just comes back to the sort of your phrase as well, the compound interest. That is just keeping things ticking over, but things can only tick over if we can do things towards that goal daily, and that's where, as Mike said, the mini goals, or I like to call them process goals, that is what drives you up to the mountain. Because even think of it, if you were to climb or want to try and climb a big, tall mountain,
Mount Everest.
So, Mount Everest. You're not going to be able to do that in one step. The only way you're going to get up there is to go one ledge at a time. It'll take time to
and that's
do,
why they have like base camp. They have these mini goals to achieve. I don't know if you've ever seen stories on Mount Everest, but they have different base camps, right? And so that's we have to get this base camp and rest, and then start the next day. So that's why it's not just one, from start to finish. And that's why those are mini goals. We have to reach this base camp, or we don't get to the top, and then we have to reach this base camp, and so on. So, yeah, that's always. It's always going to come back to mini goals. What are your mini goals?
Yeah.
We know your goal for a year, but what's your goal in a month? And what's your goal for next week? Next Monday, where do you want to be? Next Tuesday, where do you want to be?
Yeah, and that's really the thing, that the magic of all this really comes down to what are you doing daily really to get to where you want to get to. And if that is something you're not sure how to structure yourself, be it in physical fitness or whatever, but especially with physical fitness, because this was quarantine fitness and life, then make sure that you have a plan for that. And if you can't formalize that plan, that's where you need to sort of get the assistance that's going to help you reach the goal that you can get to. I mean, we're in an age now where there's people like myself and Mike and many other trainers and coaches around that you have got access to help you on your way to get to the end goal that you desire. But it is about doing the things daily and weekly that are going to get you to those little base camps, or as I'm now going to call Mike's sort of 30-day vision board. It's a little base camp. So where are you going to be in 30 days? Are you going to be able to have lost that, let's say, 2 to 4 pounds in that month? Are you going to be able to have improved in the lift? Are you going to be able to be stronger? Or is it just going to be as basic as, by the time that this month is finished, have you done your 3 days per week, or 4 days per week, or 5 days per week, every week of that month? It's all these little things. That's all you need to do, is take the baby steps, even if it is just, are you doing the training sessions week to week? Because that's something that you can build on. Is that something that you agree with?
Yeah, it's gonna. I talk about baby steps all the time, and I feel like I'm just repeating myself constantly. But that's how important it is, right? Is just conquering every day.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's so important. Baby steps is so important, regardless of what your goals are. And with my personal clients, we never focus on the end goal of their end weight. We never talk about that. Whatever their end goal is, that number doesn't even come in my mouth anymore. It's all about just 2 pounds a week, 1 pound a week, whatever it is. So it's crucial. Yeah,
no, it's that type of thing. I really hope that because I wanted to sort of like focus in on this because. What's that? Sorry. What was it you said there? Sorry.
Hiring a coach is so important. We talked about
Yeah.
coaches. I have 3 different coaches that I'm paying right now for different things. So having coaches are really important to keep you on track for those baby steps. And coaches have coaches. I don't know if you have a coach. I have a coach. Coaches have coaches for everything. So if you can't reach your own goals, make sure you hire a coach that specializes in whatever you want to do. And again, that could be through finances, through fitness, through whatever it is that you want to accomplish. Make sure you have a coach that's going to keep you on track. There's going to come a point where you can't do it on your own. And that's where you need a coach to really guide you through. Spend some money on yourself, invest into yourself. And I promise you, usually when you hire a coach, that's the kick in the ass that you need to get going. You know, and I've learned that from my experience when I hired my business coach. I felt like I was really good, and then when I hired a business coach, it really, you know, gave me a kick in the ass to really get going. And number one, I didn't want to waste money on a coach. I didn't want to just not do it, and you don't want to let your coach down. So those are really crucial aspects to hiring a coach. So make sure if you can't do it on your own, if you can't even stick to a 7-day vision board or a 30-day vision board, you need to hire someone that's going to help you.
Yeah. It really comes down to, are you serious about reaching the goal that you have set out? If your answer is no to that, if your answer is no to that, then don't worry about not achieving your goal because you're not serious about it. But if you are serious about it, then you need to do what it takes to get that goal. If that means getting up earlier, get up earlier. If that means training 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 days a week, do that. If that means making sure that you understand a bit more about nutrition and training, do that. If these things are stuff that you find hard to be able to do, then that's where you just need to get the help, because at the end of the day, all of this comes down to experience. And that's something I've talked about in my stories today, but as a quick one, experience for me, I think, comes down to knowledge, which we can gain from coaches or people that have shown that they can do the thing that we're trying to achieve, or from outside sources such as books or like maybe podcasts, whatever that you see. So these are things that we can do to improve our knowledge, and improved knowledge helps give us a bit more experience. But the other one is what I like to call learn by doing. If we just get off our bums and just try things, we may fail, but at least in that failure, we've learned what not to do. So the next time we do it, we can be better at it. So when we add our book knowledge or knowledge that we've got from someone who's experienced it and done it and that can teach us, and do that with the learning by doing, this is where we get experience. When you get experience, this is where you know so much and you can achieve so much. And this is why really both myself and Mike have been able to create the sort of physiques that we have, and this is why we can now give that knowledge to other people. I mean, with that sort of like explanation of experience, is that something you agree with?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know one successful person that has not failed multiple times. You know, so I failed tons of times as well. So, and every time you fail, you're just going to take a better, you have more knowledge on what not to do. That's really what it comes down to. If I fail at this and I know why, and now the next stab I take at it, I already know not what to do. And so it's you learn from your failures. And I know people, they don't like hearing that. I don't like hearing that when I failed at certain stuff. But in the long run, it does help you when you fail at something, because no one gets it right the first time. And so there's so much knowledge out there, dude. Just go to Google. There might be some bad stuff, but there might be some good stuff as well. So just make sure that you are, if you fail, it's okay. And if you meet someone that says they've never failed, they're lying. So
yeah, or they're not very good.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
they're not very good.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate that. Yeah. This is not just about fitness. This is about life.
Yes. Yeah, indeed. And that is the whole point of this sort of podcast. Because even with a little quick one, just as an analogy for people, especially because people will be interested in fitness, the reason why failure is not the worst thing in the world is, even think of building muscle. We need to put our bodies outside of its comfort zone. The muscles need to be put under a stress that it's not used to, so that it breaks to then have to regrow bigger and stronger than before. So the body has to be put in a failure state for it to become better. We are the same as people. So, I mean, does that pretty much really show this sort of analogy to life there, do you think?
That's perfect. That's perfect. Sometimes I don't mind failing. You know, sometimes I'll try something because I know I'm going to fail at it, but now I know what other approach to take. So I'll try something knowing I'm going to fail, which is fine because now I know, well, that method didn't work, and let's try this method, and let's see how this works. It's all about trying stuff out. It's all about trial and error and seeing maybe how your own body works, right? Certain foods. You know how many seminars I've paid for business seminars that were totally horrible, but I learned a little bit even when they were bad. So it's you know, even watching other people's videos. I watch your videos all the time, and I learn from you. You know, you can learn from other people that are in the same space. I don't know everything. You don't know everything, and so we can learn from each other, and we can learn from each other's failures too. So
exactly. No, I mean, I really hope that people sort of like what they do get from this is that really the power is in your hands. If you want to achieve something, the power truly is in your hands. It's up to you to decide that you truly want it. Understand why you really want it, because it's only when you know why you want it, you'll be able to remember what that reason is, and that's what's going to keep you motivated each time, you know, to go back at it even when you've got the bad days. But to also have the sort of like vision boards or base camps, as Mike has sort of talked about as well, in the sort of 30-day sort of like vision board plans in the life journal. Having these things helps keep you accountable and gives you a goal to drive towards, and that in itself keeps you motivated, whether you succeed in the goal or don't succeed in it, because then you go, I want to achieve that next time. So these are things of self-support you can do. But again, as I said, it comes down to getting that experience. And if you're not able to get the knowledge you need, then this is where you just need to get the sort of right guidance support that's going to help you really get to where you want to be. So we've just got the last sort of like few minutes here. So is there any sort of like last sort of like words on sort of what we've talked about you'd like to sort of leave the viewers with?
I think really what it comes down to is just making sure you're taking small baby steps, making realistic goals, understanding what you can and can't control is super important. And then again, it's all about being realistic with yourself and what you want to achieve. I think that's huge. It's like beating that horse, but it comes down to baby steps and just taking each day at a time and not getting overwhelmed with whatever results you want to achieve. And again, that could be through fat loss, through how much money you want to make, getting a girl. You want a girlfriend, right, or a boyfriend. You know, if you see someone that's you know attractive at the gym, you can't just go up to them and start like blabbing. Just like say hi one day, and the next day, you know, talk about the weather. I don't know, but like you can't just. That's where baby steps come in. You know, you have to gradually, you know, introduce yourself to somebody. And so baby steps goes through, that's just life. You gotta take it one day at a time, you know, 1 week at a time. For anything, that's great. If you can take anything away from this, if you're sitting there right now saying, I want to lose weight, I want to get more money, I want to have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you know, it just takes time. Everything that's great takes time. And it's all about baby steps and setting goals for yourself. Realistic, 7-day, 30-day, 60-day goals for yourself. I promise you will achieve them if you set small, incremental goals that are realistic.
And if no one is motivated by what Mike has just said there, then I just don't know what's wrong with you. Brilliant way to sort of end that one off there. So that is why I wanted to sort of have Mike back on for a sort of full live. So I want to thank Mike for his time and being able to sort of get this one sort of nailed down to the peg. So this one will be on my IGTV channel, but I'll have the full edited version with all the nice graphics and everything. That will go on my YouTube channel shortly. So the link for that will be on my Instagram page, so you can check that for Mike's episode 10, but also the other episodes that we've filmed as well. Each one has got a lot of great information and knowledge that you can use for you, so you can achieve whatever goals you've got in terms of fitness, and also things about life as well in those. So I'd urge you to watch those. But I'd also urge everyone to follow Mike if they've not done that already. He is at Mike Manfre _. So I'd urge you to go and give him a follow there. So I just want to thank you again, Mike, for your time. I'm sure we'll hit ourselves up for another live at some stage coming up. But it's always good to sort of like chat with you and converse with you, because we do have a sort of like good similar sort of thought process, but we do come up with some really good points which we don't sort of haven't thought about ourselves. So as you say, we can always learn from each other, and that is the beauty about life. So
we'll do round four.
Most definitely, my friend. So that is the end of episode 10 of Quarantine Fitness and Life. This time was with my guest, Mike Manfre, who is at Mike Manfre _ on Instagram. So until next time, guys, we'll see you later. Good night. Thanks for that, Mike. Speak to you soon.